welcome back to the Quantum Soul. It seems like we're practically living in a science fiction movie these days, with lights in the sky seen over military bases and whispers of these secret government projects. And of course, the age-old question, are we alone?
It's certainly a time of intense interest in UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, that's for sure. The recent surge in sightings, especially concentrated around military installations, really has a lot of people wondering what's going on.
And the questions go way beyond just, what are these things? You know, we're diving into this world of historical echoes and government secrecy, and even the very nature of science itself. It's like peeling back layers of a cosmic onion, and we're here to explore it all today.
I love that analogy. Peeling back the cosmic onion, because we've got some incredible material to work with, from eyewitness accounts to reports from government agencies, historical records, and even some very, very interesting parallels to mythology and folklore from around the world.
So buckle up, folks. We're going on a deep dive into the heart of the UAP mystery. Let's start with what we know for sure. People are seeing things in the sky.
They are.
Things that defy conventional explanation.
That's right. And the descriptions are pretty consistent across the board. Often these UAPs are described as glowing orbs or disks moving silently and erratically. They seem to appear and disappear at will, and they're not showing up on radar the way a conventional aircraft would.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting to me. These lights aren't just appearing over, random cornfields or suburban backyards. They're clustered around military bases.
That's a very crucial detail, and it really raises the stakes, because now you're talking about national security implications. The possibility of advanced technology that we just don't understand, or maybe even deliberate disinformation tactics.
Let's talk about those historical parallels, because it turns out we've been here before. 1942, the Battle of Los Angeles. World War II nerves are frayed, and suddenly there are these bright lights over the city searchlights, anti-aircraft fire.
Wow.
The whole city is convinced that it's an enemy attack.
And yet no enemy aircraft were ever found.
The official explanation was war nerves and weather balloons. But even today, a lot of people think that it was something far more extraordinary.
They do.
And then fast forward to 1980, the Rendlesham Forest incident in England. Military personnel at a joint US-UK airbase report strange lights, a craft landing.
Wow.
Even symbols that were etched on trees.
It sounds familiar.
And then there's Brazil's official night of UFOs in 1986. Multiple UFOs over several states, even causing disruptions at airports.
What I find fascinating is that all of these events seem to happen during times of global tension, like World War II, the Cold War.
Is there a connection between these sightings and times of conflict? Is it possible that some of these events, past or present, could even be part of military psyops?
That's a really interesting idea. The idea of military disinformation. Think about how much of modern warfare is about information control propaganda, creating confusion in the enemy ranks. Could some UAP sightings be a part of that?
It's a chilling thought, but it's worth considering. Okay, so we have these lights, we have the historical precedents. What are the prevailing theories that are out there?
Well, the most popular, of course, is extraterrestrial visitation. The idea that we're being visited by beings from another planet, it captures the imagination. It really taps into some of our deepest fears and desires about our place in the cosmos.
It's hard not to jump to that conclusion.
It is.
Especially when you consider the strange movements and capabilities of some of these UAPs. But is it too easy? Are we letting our desire for something extraordinary kind of cloud our judgment?
It's possible. That is the million-dollar question. There's no concrete scientifically accepted evidence to prove the extraterrestrial hypothesis. And before we jump to aliens, we need to at least consider other possibilities. Like what? Give us some alternatives.
Well, advanced technology is a big one. Could these be secret government projects, technologies that are so advanced they're beyond our understanding of physics? Or maybe even a foreign adversary who's pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
So think stealth aircraft, but on a whole other level. Drones that can move silently at incredible speeds with technology that we haven't even dreamed of.
Exactly. We have to remember that technology is constantly evolving. What seems impossible today may be commonplace tomorrow.
And of course you can't talk about secret government projects without mentioning the elephant in the room.
Here we go.
Area 51.
Area 51.
The very name evokes images of hidden bunkers, reverse-engineered alien tech.
Area 51 is a symbol of the public's fascination with government secrecy and the unknown. And while a lot of the wilder theories have been debunked, the very existence of a place like that fuels the imagination.
And it's the perfect segue to talk about Bob Lazar.
Back in the 1980s, he claimed to have worked at a secret facility near Area 51, reverse engineering alien technology.
His story's a wild ride.
It is.
It is. He described working with element 115, which at the time hadn't even been synthesized, claiming that it was the key to anti-gravity propulsion.
And he also claimed that the government was hiding this technology from the public, and while Lazar's claims have been largely discredited, they've had a lasting impact on the public imagination.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to see why people draw parallels between Lazar's story and the current UAP sightings.
Right.
Both involve the idea of a government cover-up, advanced technology beyond our comprehension.
Yeah.
And the sense that we're not being told the whole truth.
That we're not getting the full picture.
Right. And that sense of distrust is only amplified when you look at figures like Luis Elizondo.
Oh, yeah.
The former Pentagon official who headed the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or ATIP.
Elizondo's involvement lends a certain level of credibility to the idea that these sightings are being taken seriously at the highest levels of government.
Right.
He claims to have seen compelling evidence that suggests some UAPs are not of earthly origin.
He even went so far as to suggest that some UAPs could be advanced underwater craft USOs. Capable of moving seamlessly between the air and water.
Like something out of a Jules Verne novel.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so Elizondo's claims, along with the Pentagon's recent acknowledgement of UAPs, have definitely shifted the conversation.
They have.
It's no longer just fringe enthusiasts talking about this. Now, it's on the radar of the scientific community, government agencies.
Absolutely.
Even the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And that brings up an important question.
Okay.
With all these unexplained phenomena and competing theories, where does science fit into all of this?
Right.
Why isn't ufology considered a legitimate field of study?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of what science is and how it works. While the UAP phenomenon exists, ufology often lacks the rigorous methodology required for mainstream scientific acceptance.
So it's not that scientists are dismissive of the possibility of extraterrestrial life or these advanced unknown technologies.
No, not at all.
It's more that they demand evidence that meets a certain standard of scientific rigor.
Precisely. Science thrives on skepticism. On the constant testing of hypotheses.
Right.
Ufology at its best should strive to do the same.
Before we dive deeper into the science of UAPs, I want to take a moment to thank everyone for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes.
If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends.
Spread the love.
It really helps us spread the word and explore these fascinating topics.
Absolutely. You know, it's fascinating how this topic really pushes us to examine what we even consider scientific. You know, because at one point, the idea of heavier than air flight was considered impossible.
Right. Imagine trying to explain airplanes to someone who'd never even seen a hot air balloon.
Right. Their mind would be blown.
Yeah.
And that's what makes UAPs so compelling.
Yeah.
They really challenge our assumptions about what's possible, and they force us to confront the limits of our current understanding.
Okay, but let's get specific. You mentioned that ufology often lacks scientific rigor. What does that look like in practice?
Well, think about the evidence that's often presented. Eyewitness accounts, blurry photos, grainy videos.
Right.
And while those can be starting points for investigation, they're very easily misinterpreted.
Right.
Or even fabricated.
So someone sees a strange light in the sky and their brain tries to make sense of it.
Right.
Filling in the gaps with what they've seen in movies or read in books.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with videos, you have to consider the possibility of hoaxes, special effects, or even just misidentified natural phenomena. There's a famous video circulating online claiming to show a UAP moving at impossible speeds.
Right.
Turned out to be a bug flying close to the camera lens.
Wow, so our perception can really be tricked.
It really can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the more credible accounts, though? The ones from pilots or military personnel?
Right.
People who are trained to observe and identify objects in the sky.
Those accounts are definitely more compelling, but even they need to be scrutinized.
Okay.
Pilots, just like anyone else, can be fooled by optical illusions, atmospheric conditions, or even stress and fatigue.
So how do we separate the genuine UAP sightings from misidentifications or hoaxes?
Right.
What would constitute solid scientific evidence?
Ideally, we would want multiple forms of corroborating evidence. So you have radar data that matches eyewitness accounts, high-resolution images or videos that can be analyzed by experts,
Right.
and if possible, physical evidence of some kind.
Wow.
Materials, traces of radiation, anything that can be scientifically tested.
And that's where the challenge lies. Because a lot of these UAP sightings seem to defy our current methods of detection.
Right.
They don't show up on radar. They move in ways that our aircraft can't replicate.
It's almost as if they're operating on principles of physics that we haven't even discovered yet.
Right. And that's where the idea of the black swan comes in.
Exactly.
Just because we haven't seen something before doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Right. Like black swans, nobody believed in them until they were actually discovered.
Right, exactly. The black swan concept reminds us to stay open to the possibility of the unknown, even if it challenges our current understanding of the world.
It does.
But there's a danger there too, isn't there? A tendency in ufology to jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
To see any unexplained event as proof of aliens or some grand conspiracy.
Absolutely. It's so crucial to maintain that balance between open-mindedness and critical thinking. You know, we need to be willing to consider extraordinary possibilities.
Right.
But we also need extraordinary evidence to support those possibilities.
And that brings us back to the current situation. Lights over military bases, a history of similar events, and a range of theories that run from extraterrestrial to advanced technology to military disinformation.
Yeah, a lot.
It's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot to unpack. And what makes it even more challenging is that these theories aren't mutually exclusive.
Right.
It's possible that some UAP sightings are misidentified drones, while others are natural phenomena that we just don't fully understand. And still others might be something truly extraordinary.
It's like we're trying to solve a giant jigsaw puzzle where we don't even know what the picture is supposed to look like.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to approach this topic with a sense of humility.
Right.
To acknowledge that we don't have all the answers.
So given all of this uncertainty, what stands out to you as the most compelling aspect of the UAP phenomenon? What keeps you coming back to this topic?
For me, it's the intersection of science history and the human psyche. You know, these sightings, whether they turn out to be explainable or not, they tap into our deepest fears and hopes about our place in the universe. They force us to confront the limits of our knowledge and to really grapple with the idea that there might be things out there that we just don't understand.
It's almost as if these UAPs are holding up a mirror to humanity.
Right.
Reflecting our own sense of wonder, our fear, and the desire to know the unknown.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's that sense of wonder that I think draws so many people to this topic. You know, we're hardwired to explore, to seek answers, to push the boundaries of what we know.
It's like the innate human drive to map the unknown, to chart the uncharted territories. We see it throughout history, you know, from ancient explorers setting sail across uncharted seas to modern-day scientists probing the depths of space.
And there's something particularly alluring about the sky, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's this vast, infinite canvas where anything seems possible.
Oh, absolutely. The sky has always been a source of mystery and fascination for humanity. Think about all the myths and legends that have sprung up around celestial events throughout history, eclipses, comets, meteor showers. People saw those things, couldn't explain them, and filled in the gaps with stories of gods and monsters.
It's almost as if we're programmed to find meaning in the patterns of the sky. You know, constellations become stories, shooting stars become wishes. And when we see something truly unexplained, something that defies our current understanding, it triggers that ancient part of our brain that wants to believe in something bigger than ourselves.
It's that sense of awe and wonder that connects us to something larger than our everyday lives. And it's why this UAP phenomenon continues to captivate us, even in the face of skepticism and uncertainty.
Speaking of skepticism, let's talk about the evidence or lack thereof. We've touched on eyewitness accounts and the challenges of interpreting them. But what about the video footage that's out there? There are some pretty compelling videos circulating online showing objects moving in ways that seem to defy physics.
It's important to approach those videos with a critical eye. While some may be genuine, many are hoaxes or misinterpretations of natural phenomena. Even the ones that seem really compelling often lack the context and data needed to make a definitive assessment.
So just because a video shows something strange doesn't mean it's proof of alien spacecraft or some secret technology.
Exactly. We need to consider things like camera angles, lens distortion, atmospheric conditions, and the possibility of video editing or manipulation. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And grainy footage alone rarely meets that standard.
Okay, so where do we go from here? What can we as individuals do to better understand this phenomenon?
Well, I think the key is to stay informed.
Okay.
Engage in critical thinking and be open to different perspectives. Don't just accept everything you hear at face value. Do your own research, ask questions, and consider all the possibilities.
It's almost like we need to become amateur scientists ourselves, learning how to evaluate evidence, weigh different theories, and avoid jumping to conclusions.
Absolutely. And part of that is being willing to acknowledge that we might never have all the answers. There may be some UAP sightings that remain unexplained mysteries that continue to challenge our understanding of the world.
But that's okay, isn't it? There's beauty in the mystery, in the not knowing. It keeps us curious, it drives us to explore, and it reminds us that there's still so much out there to discover.
I think that's a great point. The pursuit of knowledge is a journey, not a destination. And the UAP phenomenon, whether it leads us to definitive answers or not, has already sparked a fascinating conversation about science history and our place in the cosmos.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, from eyewitness accounts to historical parallels, government secrecy, and the challenges of applying scientific rigor to a field as elusive as ufology. We've explored the range of theories from extraterrestrial visitation to advanced technology and everything in between.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
We've delved into the psychological and cultural factors that shape our perceptions of the unknown, and we've touched on that enduring human fascination with the mysteries of the sky. So what do you believe? Are these sightings simply unexplained phenomena, or is there something more to them?
That's the ultimate question, isn't it? And it's one that each individual has to answer for themselves based on the available evidence and their own interpretation. But regardless of where you stand on this issue, I think we can all agree that the UAP phenomenon is a fascinating and thought-provoking topic that deserves our attention.
Absolutely. We encourage you to continue exploring this topic, to share your thoughts, and to keep an open mind. And who knows, maybe one day the truth will be out there for all to see.
Maybe one day.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of UAPs. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and share with your friends. We love hearing your thoughts, so leave a comment below and tell us what you think. And don't forget to click on one of the videos on the screen to continue your journey of discovery. Until next time.